Hello everyone, good morning. Hope you are doing well, everyone. We had a good weekend. So it's 8 o'clock. As it's a new session, new day, right? It's Monday. We'll wait for 5 more minutes till trainer joins. Mr. Ritesh. Okay, so meantime, yep. So let's stay for some more time here. That's
Morning, everyone. Okay, so we'll just give a minute more. Morning. We'll just give a minute more and we'll slowly get started.
Good morning, Richard.
Morning.
hey everyone. So good morning to everyone, one-on-one each other. By the way, how's your weekend, everyone?
It was good.
Nice to hear. So finally, a good news. I think yesterday, right? So all these uncertainty things were coming down slowly. If you have heard about yesterday's news from the both Iran side and even America side also, things are coming down slowly. Hope we'll have more good things. Okay, all our IT things going a normal way, right? So slow hiring will become again. The company will go into the normal ways, so things will get in normal. So let's hope for that better things here. Well, so as part of this course, right, everybody will be having multiple latest things, right? So where you will be integrating your things with the Fabric. Maybe not sure how many of you are getting calls or trying for the jobs these days. But yeah, so even I work in one of the MNC because when I just give simply, I try to give interviews some days. Okay, most of the companies were asking, do you have the Fabric experience these days? So that's the most important they were asking everyone. Yep. So as part of this, right, so we'll be integrating our complete course with the Fabric and even AI things, how we can use them the best way. How do we, I'm sure, okay, earlier days, right? Recently, in one of the somewhere in Instagram, somewhere I have seen, right? Earlier days, we were asked to write a code by giving a piece of paper. During the online interview, right? They will share the some SQL school or XYZ, whatever the platform. They will ask us to write the code, okay? But I'm sure these days, companies will ask you to use the AI, build a solution for their problem statement. How quickly you are going to build, that will matters in upcoming days. Okay, so start exploring things. Okay, learn things more quicker way and smarter way. Right. So I can see 50 plus people into the class here. Right, everybody use the things properly. So I can see Ritesh, are you there?
Yes, Raj, I'm there.
Oh, sorry.
Cool.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. I've joined.
Handing you
Fair.
over.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So again, a very good morning, everyone, and let me start recording as well. Fair. So before we proceed further, like as Raj was discussing related to the current open market and what is the situation of the war, right? So like irrespective of what, like economies are getting like stringent, fine, but we have to focus on how do we adapt AI also. Like adapting AI is also one of the important thing what we have to identify where we can use the AI, where we can improve ourselves. The productivity has to be like on an upper side. Like if you're stuck at some point of time earlier, we have to do a lot of research. We have to go back and ask some other individual, maybe some of our seniors, right? Nowadays the way of working has quietly changed. Nowadays, in the sense, since last 1 year only, it's not more than a year. Like since last 1 year, all this adapt like the new AI adaptation has came into picture, how we are utilizing it on day-to-day basis. That would always have an impact on our job as well. So we'll try to discuss that part, and fairly we'll also understand what all skills are required to be a good Power BI developer. Like only learning Power BI is not a particular option nowadays, right? Only Power BI. Along with Power BI, maybe use of the other cloud related services, Fabric, or maybe how you utilize your databases, how good you are in SQL. Even that also is very important part of it. Fair. So let me quickly share my screen and let's get started. So at any point of time, if you feel that, okay, we are kind of getting bored, maybe we'll have some other discussion as well parallelly, so that it is beneficial that, okay, you understand what all skills are required, how do you adapt this change in current world, and then maybe we'll slowly continue with the further sessions. Fair. Now, just a moment. Let me know once my screen is visible. It might take few seconds to load. Fair. Yeah, I'm sharing it.
It's visible now.
Okay, cool. So now, what is our agenda today, or maybe what we are going through? It would be more a kind of demo session only. We'll not jump into the further technical aspects, but we'll try to understand where a data analyst comes into picture. What is the role of a data analyst? That is what our primary aim is, right? So if you want to be a very good data analyst, if you want to be very good BI analyst, we are at the right place. We will understand what skills are required, and then we'll also understand about the current market as well. Now, see, if you are looking out or if you're searching out for any particular open position, like even the way of searching has quietly changed. Quietly in the sense, it is slowly adapting the new world. So how do you understand this current changes? You have to be very like specific to what is the open market about, how the skills are evolving. So that evolving skills has to be part of your resume, right? So if I would say a few years back, I used to always say that a person who doesn't know cloud, or maybe who has no cloud exposure being mentioned in any of his resume or CV, is of no use. Now, cloud still says the same, like you have to understand cloud, you have to know cloud, but along with cloud, the use of AI, or how are you adapting AI, that is also part of this current world. So if these two terminologies, or maybe these two words, specific skills, are not available in your resume, nowadays it is of like it's a general piece of paper, it is of no use, right? So cloud and AI should be always part of your resume. Like how do you adapt that? We'll try to understand. Fair. So before we proceed further, like what is the just a moment. It is getting stuck, it seems. Just give me a moment, yeah. My video is getting stuck. Fair. I'll reshare it back. Okay, so before we proceed further, let me introduce myself. Myself, Ritesh. I have 8+ years of experience all into this data engineering and data analytical background, like especially into the BI engineering background. So I worked with Microsoft, like I'm working still, but by a different way. Now I have exposure or expertise in different fields of like different verticals, also different domains as well. So we worked in different domains. I have that experience of training individuals as well, may it be in Microsoft, may it be in KSR Data Vision. So I've been associated with KSR. It's been almost 4 years now. It's been almost 4 years where I'm being associated with KSR. So like that's how my journey is continuing with the KSR. And like from day one, or maybe when I joined KSR till today, like it has evolved a lot. We have started with Power BI. We have started with only Power BI a few days back, or maybe few years back. But now we included Power BI with cloud, and nowadays it is along with cloud and AI. How do you adapt AI, and where do we use that? So that's how the current market is, and that's what we would be discussing. So what is the agenda? Like what all skills are required for a data analyst role? Like, would it be along with cloud expertise? Yes, it would be along with cloud expertise only. And along with cloud, we would just add a AI part of it. Now, see, you might be hearing AI wherever you go. Now, if you're a working professional also, like even I experience the same. Like, what is this AI? Like, how does it impact? That is a separate part. But why everyone is so interested to work with AI, right? Now, I'll just take a small example. Um, like if you're a working professional, you may have um, probably you may have gone through many your in-house company meetings, right? Maybe there are some town halls, maybe there are some vertical meetings happening. You might be working, I mean, you might be working in any particular vertical or a project. That project meeting might be happening, right? Maybe some leads are coming from different locations, and a one common word which they use, like they'll not say where do we use it, they'll only use how we can utilize AI and improve our productivity wherever you go. Like that is the, like you can say it's a whole and soul of current meetings nowadays. Wherever you go, there is a AI. But what does that AI have an impact? That is our primary understanding, right? So what is the current market opportunities? Like how the current market opportunities are. Let me highlight one thing. We would be starting with this course let's assume like it's anyways 25th of May. We assume that we start with June. Like we are assuming we start with June. 5 days of May, it's not a very big impact. But if you assume, see, the current market, or maybe generally whenever the market is open, if you see any open positions from July or August, usually starts popping up. Like from the month of July and August, a good amount of openings would start coming into picture until the month of November. Like we can expect a very good open positions until the month of November, right? So this is a very good opportunity for this batch people who wants to continue with this. We might close this course, like it's a 4 months duration, right? So assume July, August, September, and October. We usually close by October, but you can start applying once we complete the Power BI also. Like there are few sets, there are few components which we would be discussing that as well. But once you like you see the current market, by month of August or September, we might close half or more than half of the sessions. So in that case, you are ready to apply for this open positions. So keeping that in mind, we'll try to understand what all skills we would be covering and what is the benefit of learning this data analyst or BI engineering course. Fair? So what is the future prospects of data analyst and Power BI? And I might be saying two words, right? I always say that two words. Two words are DA, which is your data analyst, and BI engineer. Now, there is a quite amount of difference between these two words. I mean, end of the day, it is one and the same, what we are discussing, but there is a quite small difference. Now, what is that small difference is? See, if you consider only data analyst, a data analyst can work only in Python also, can work only in Python. A person who only works in Python related to data related aspects, he's also a data analyst. A person who only works in PBI, Power BI, he's only a data analyst. A person who only works for SQL, see, I'm not talking about a person who is developing databases. No, a person who already has a database and he works on the query part of it, understanding the data or giving some business importance. Like he does the testing of data, he gives some important business, like kind of queries, all that. That person is also called as a data analyst. But these are all individual skills. If you consider Python, if you consider SQL, if you consider Power BI, these are individual skills. But if you consider this BI engineer, what does this BI engineer mean? See, a small amount of engineering is also part of our data analyst course, right? Now, what is that small amount? We should have an exposure to SQL. Yes, we should have an exposure to cloud. These two components, when you club it with any reporting tool, now Power BI is PBI, right? BI stands for business intelligence, and business intelligence doesn't only include reporting. Along with reporting, it also includes the understanding of data, like how the data is getting streamlined and how are we utilizing it on day-to-day basis. So for that perspective, we would be using SQL also, and we would be using cloud, right? So that is the reason I always say we are not pure data analysts. We are more of a business intelligence engineers. So that word or that business intelligence would be the key for this complete session. Fair? Now, let's understand with a small example. Like what is that example? So if you take any day-to-day, like any example which you are viewing, the best example what I always take is what we are connected with. Like we are connected with Zoom, right? Now we are connected with Zoom. So I might be working in different location, like I might be connected from a different location, and you people are connected from different locations, like multiple geographies. But whatever I am trying to explain, everyone is able to get it in few seconds. Like there is not even a lag also. Why? Because we are all connected via cloud. So one of the biggest benefit of using cloud is like if you start your day, whichever component, like which is related to your devices, which is related to your any application, all that applications are part of cloud. So why not? Like if you're learning, if you're going through each and every component, which is always based on cloud, why not learn cloud, right? Because cloud is the core of any IT world. You may be a data analyst, you may be data engineer, you may be data scientist, or apart from data related roles, you might be a front end developer, a back end developer. For everyone, cloud is the core of their understanding, because every data is being able to push to cloud and we can access it from any part of world. So that is the benefit of learning cloud. And we are also in the same track. We would also learn cloud along with this business intelligence stack. Fair? So the best example is Zoom, what I've told you. But along with that, whichever example you consider, like almost every part of the world has dependency on clouds. And if something goes wrong with the cloud, almost all the applications will come down. So that's how a cloud has impact on our day-to-day life or day-to-day working infrastructure. Fair. And cloud can accommodate anything. Like it can take up whatever data you have, it can maintain your applications, or it can help you to solve all your problems. Most specifically is a better connectivity, right? And the best example again I can give you, if you just go back to like 5 years or 6 years back in 2020, like if you go to 2020, March 2020 especially, like because of this COVID, almost every companies went back to the model of work from home. But how companies were confident that people can work from home? Because they knew that whatever applications we are using, almost all the applications are working on cloud. So if we can connect from our local systems, if we can connect from our office premises, why not they can connect from home, right? The only thing was, whenever you move from any on-premises systems to cloud, the best way to manage them is having a good security. So cloud doesn't mean if you learn cloud, okay, fair, it is well and good, but you should also understand some background of it. You should also understand some with like what is the security aspects of it. So that's what we would be discussing along with few examples. Fair. So our primary emphasis would be BI along with cloud and SQL stack. Now, the best, again, few examples. The best example, if you try to see any pharma, like you visited any pharmacy, like you have visited any pharmacy and you have a list of medicines you want to pick up. Now, if you go to a pharmacy, you have list of medicines to pick up. All the medicines are kept in like some similar racks or some similar places right there. So if a person, like if you give a name of that medicine would be okay. Easily that person can go back and check that medicine. But if that information is not clearly gathered, right, or maybe medicines are kept randomly in different locations, it would be very difficult to identify where is that product. And maybe any superstore example also, like you visited any superstore, nearest superstore, and you want to pick up something. Now if it's a dairy product, you can directly go to the dairy section. Like if it's anything related to your day-to-day life, maybe any grocery product, you will go to the grocery section, right? So you have that flexibility of directly going to any particular area to pick up certain product. So what does this imply? Like what is the implication of it? If the information is correctly segregated, we can easily pick up any information and we can, like maybe our primary aim is to use, right? If you are trying to pick up any dairy product, we want to use the dairy product. Similarly, from a data perspective, if the data is clearly segregated and it is clearly managed, we can use that data wherever and whatever point of time we wanted. So the implication here is the more cleaner the data is, the better the information can be extracted and can be used for business perspective. Now, Who is the person who does this? A person who knows data analyst, a person who has an exposure to the BI stack. So we being a data analyst and we being a business intelligence engineer, we need to identify that how do we segregate the data. Now we are comparing this information with the data, right? Our data might be in different forms. It is a raw form, it is like something streamlined, or you can call it a semi-raw form. But we want to make it very clean data. In that case, we as a data analyst, we have to take up that raw data, we have to streamline it, and then we have to use it for the business intelligence perspective. That is our day-to-day life understanding, or maybe that's what we have to do in our day-to-day life if you want to be a good data analyst or a BI engineer. And same example. See, this is just a GDP. Now, anyways, the world is thinking about GDP, right? How the countries are evolving. So I've just taken an example of GDP. And this data is until 2023, not even 25 or 24. This data is available until 2023, and there are multiple files. Now, if you see, this is available for 1 decade. This particular snapshot is for 1 decade. Now, if you try to read this information, like this is minus 10 years back. We are in 2026. If you just go to minus 10 years, maybe in 2016. In 2016, Excel was the core of data. Like if anyone wants to understand
Hello.
what is the business, yes.
Sir, I am not sure. The screen is not visible to me only, or it's not
Is
shared
it?
that one.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
for everyone.
visible to me also.
Okay, you
It's
might
not
have
Yes.
told
visible.
me. Just a moment. You might have already told me. I thought it is visible.
Not yet.
Is it visible now?
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just a moment. Fair. We were discussing about this part. Okay, so if you visit any pharmacy, if you visit any superstore, this is how the information is segregated. We can easily pick up any data, but we being a data analyst, we have to think our role is to segregate and clean the data, right? So that is our primary understanding. We being a data analyst, we have to we have to streamline and check all the data segregation, what we have to do. Fair. So the best example what I can take is this example. If you go minus 10 years back in 2016, we're in 26. Like if you go back to 2016, whatever analysis anyone has to do, they has to do all that analysis mostly in the Excel sheets, right? Excel was the core. And still today, Excel is still a good market leader for understanding or analyzing the data. But Excel has certain restrictions. What are the restrictions? You have to create some formulas. You have to use a lot of data churning there. And see, for an Excel has one version only. A person can develop in the Excel there itself, and whatever they have developed, they can share directly with the end user. So there are no different versions. Like a development version is not different, and the version which you are giving it to the end user, that is also the same version. So whatever changes a developer makes, that all changes would be flexibly visible to the end user, or he might get confused because there are many formulas, there are many things which would come into picture if it's an Excel information. And mostly Excel information is in the table format. You can create some visuals there also, but most of the Excel information is in the table format. Now, if the same information you want to convert it, how do you convert? We have to convert it in the correct segregation manner. So how do you convert that? We convert this into this specific dashboard. See, this is a dashboard which is developed by one of our students only. What we have done is we were looking around this data. The second step, what we have to do as a data analyst is segregation of information. Now, what is segregation? First, understand the data. As a data analyst, we have to always understand. So once you understand the data, we have to clean that data. Now we have taken an example of segregation, right? Now, this is what a segregation means. Like if you want to pick up any product, you directly go to that space and you pick up that product. Why? Because everything is segregated. And even business knows, okay, this is the stock, this is not available, this we have to focus on, or maybe people are not checking this product, we have to think, we have to give some discount. All this is because they have segregated the data. Similarly, if you're a data analyst, if the data is correctly segregated, we can easily think about cleaning, we can easily think about business, how our business is going on. So the same information what I've shown here, now this is for a one single decade. I have an information for 4 or 6 decades. Now that 6 decades of information, we have analyzed it and we have created this report. So how the population is impacting our day-to-day GDP growth as well. Same information. Fair. So if any person wants to read that, if you are sharing any information to the business is the one who's trying to take that decision. Okay, where can we improve ourselves? So the same example, if I show in the table format, and the same example, if I want to show it in the report format, 99% of the time business is more interested on these data because it is very easy to understand. Whereas if you try to check the table view is quite difficult. I'm not saying it is very difficult, but you have to read each and every point. You have to compare each and every point. So here we can directly compare it. So this is the benefit of understanding the BI. This is the benefit of understanding the cleaning of data. And once you clean the data, you can create any report out of it. So we being a data analyst or we being a BI engineer, our primary is to make sure you read the data, you understand the data, and you can create the visuals. Now, one thing which the current world is evolving is everyone says that AI tool can create visuals for you. You might have heard, right? AI can create visuals for you. So AI can suggest visuals for you. There is a difference. What world says and what we understand, there is a difference. See, now this is a line chart. Now there are different charts. Let's try to understand with a basic trend. India's GDP growth from 1960 to 2020. This is a GDP growth. Like it is increasing, right? So this chart is called as a line chart. In Power BI, this chart is called as a line chart. Maybe in any other reporting tool also, this is called as a line chart. So we have our data. We have cleaned our data. We have understood the data, but we are not sure what visual we have to use. Maybe most of the times as a data analyst, if you have a good exposure, we can understand, okay, this visual would be the right fit. But we are still in a dilemma that we don't know what visuals we have to use. In that case, we can always suggest, we can get a suggestion from an AI, right? Now, we can also suggest AI, okay, this is our data, this is what we want, basis of which the AI would answer a perfect result for you. One thing you have to always understand. See, there are two ways of asking a question to AI. If you give data and if you ask a random question, AI can give you 10 answers. But out of the 10 answers, you are a person, you need to identify what is the best fit for the business. AI will not be able to understand it. So AI only gives you answers depending on what you prompt. If you're prompting it wrong, it would give you wrong answers also. And it would make sure you believe that the answers are correct. You might have experienced, like if you ask a question to ChatGPT, a very common question, and maybe you might have seen that. Always go back and check with ChatGPT, a random question you can ask. It would give you some 10 answers. It would suggest you some 10 answers. But if you're like you have a very good clarity, like whatever I want it to be very perfect. And if you detailed explain them, then it would give you better answers. So that is the difference. AI can suggest you, but which suggestions are best fit as a developer, you have to identify. So you always have to understand AI cannot give you everything. It can suggest you basis of which you have to take the best suggestion and give the best results. So that is the impact of AI. And the AI would always work on number of prompts. How many number of prompts are you giving from your end? Like it can give you 1,000 answers, but it can only take 15 questions or 100 questions a day. So how perfectly you are asking a question, that is more important. How are you prompting to AI? And now you might have seen few open positions about prompt engineer. There are few open positions about prompt engineer. A prompt engineer is a person who prompts an AI and gets the first and perfect results within one single prompt. We have to jump into that position also. We need to understand, okay, we have some requirement. If you ask 10 questions, it will give you 100 answers. But with only one question, how do you extract the best answer? That is what we have to make sure you adapt that. Fair. So AI is not going to take any job. It was going to take a job of a person who is very lethargic and he is not giving you the best results. So you have to adapt that AI to make sure you always get the best results, and that too with a very less time frame. Time frame is also most important part, right? So we need to understand that time frame and we need to get the best results. Same is the case. Like if I share this report to AI, maybe any AI tool, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or Claude also, whichever tool would you like, you can pick up that tool and you can share this information. What it will ask you few questions. Like before it asks you few questions, you can suggest them that this is my data, this is a data of last 10 years, and I want to create a one single page of report with 5 KPIs. If you give all these details to AI, it would give you better result. But if you directly share this information and if you say, I want to create a report out of it, it would create a report, but it would give you 10 solutions. Now, which solution is best? Or maybe we are not aware which solution is as expected. So we have to be more precise if you ask any AI tool. So that precision we need to understand. And who understands that precision? A person who understands any tool end to end. If you know Power BI, if you know some functionalities of Power BI, only then you can suggest an AI and get the answers, right? If you're very new to Power BI, AI can suggest you 100 answers, which even confuses you, or you may not be able to deliver the right result. So how do you adapt an AI and how do you understand your tool? That is more important. First is understanding tool. Second is how AI can suggest you better answers. So we would be learning all this in our sessions. Fair? Now, what a data analyst has to do with a BI stack. Like even the image which I have created or generated, this is an AI generated image. You might have seen many images are getting generated on with the help of AI, right? This is the same AI generated image. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are able to understand this. Very complex, right? That's how AI works. But I'll segregate it. What I'll do, I will segregate it. The same image representation is this. It is the same representation. But what I have done, I have segregated it with our manual effort. Right? So what AI can do, what a human can do, there is a drastic difference. So AI can confuse you. It can confuse you. But how to come out of that confusion? Confusion, you have to come out if you only know that in depth of a tool, any tech stack. You might be a Java developer, you might be a front end developer. If you don't know any ABC of Java, if you ask a question to AI, AI can give you 100 answers, but you need to identify what is the correct answer. Same is the case for a data analyst or a data engineer or maybe data scientist, any data related role. If you ask a question, it would suggest you everything. This is a mess. Like you need to pick up what is what. But if I want to give this particular information a manual effort, this would give you better understanding. Why? Because here the information is correctly segregated. Now, what I'm trying to explain is what is your role as a BI analyst or a data analyst. So our role is this. Like ideally, what we do visualization. But along with that, our emphasis is to learn this track as well. Whatever is placed here, our emphasis is to learn this track as well. So we might be getting data from different sources. This is one part. This is second part, and this is the third part. This is compulsory, the third part, which is your visualization. But prior to that, how do you clean the data? Segregation of data. So cleaning data is the most important part, and most of our effort goes there. Because the more cleaner the data is, the good or better visuals will come out of it. So our understanding is we need to learn ETL. This is what ETL means. E means extract, T means transform, L means load. We are extracting data from different data sources. We are transforming in between, and then we are loading it to some storage so that we can connect it to the report or visual tool for our visualization, for our report building. And if I show you the same example here, it is also like, for me, it is easy to understand. I know what is this. A person who knows in depth of BI, in depth of data analyst, or maybe how a data analyst works, they can easily identify this visual also. But a person who is very new, he may not be able to understand. So AI will not take any person's job. Like a person who knows more about tool and he wants to extract something additional out of it, or maybe he wants to get results in a faster way. For them, the AI is beneficial. If you are very new to any specific tool and you say, no, I don't know anything, I will use AI. It would, yes, it would give you results, but it would give you 100 results. You have to identify what is the correct result. Fair? So the correct result is this. The same example is this with the help of AI. So we'll try to understand how this have an impact on day-to-day life. Fair. Now, as I've said, as a BI engineer or as a data analyst, we have to learn a visual, we have to learn a visualization tool like visuals or visualization tool. We have to additionally learn ETL. Now, where is this ETL based out of? ETL is based out of cloud. You have to do all this ETL in the cloud. And why cloud? Because anyone can access, everyone can access, and at any point of time, wherever you want, you can connect. That is the benefit of using cloud. So let's understand that. Now, what is the current market trend? Same. See how the data is increasing. This is a general example of how much spending every country does, or maybe how much spending aggregated all the countries are doing on understanding the data. Now we are in 26 data is not yet available. So somewhere there's a projection that it can go to $180 billion. Industries are spending $180 billion on cleaning the data, on understanding the data. So we should also be part of it, right? How do you part of it? Like, how would you be the part of it? So see, there are two things. If you see this chart, I have purposefully kept this chart with two roles: data analyst and business analyst. Now, somehow, what is data analyst? A person who only works on one tool. A person who only works on one tool. There is one more option called as business analyst, or there is one more option called as BI analyst. This is also AI generated image. Same AI generated image. There is nothing difference, but it would confuse you. Same names, right? There is also one more same name. What is this machine engineering? What are this percentage? I'm unable to identify, right? AI. It is giving you result, but it is confusing you. So how do you come out of that confusion? See, I've purposefully kept this image. how AI has an answer for every image. And if I just scroll, I would show you one more image as well. Just give me a moment. Or maybe let's understand in the same image, right? Why to open that? See, I've kept two rules. One is a pure data analyst who only works on one tool. He has idea about only SQL, only Python, or only Power BI. He's a data analyst. But if you want to understand the business, if you want to work on different aspects of business, you should be a good BI engineer. In that case, you will have expertise in cloud, you will have expertise in BI tool, or you will have expertise in data. Additionally, you will have expertise in use of AI in day-to-day life. So the same image, see, we might be part of this also, but we have to be here. Why? Because we should work on reports. We should work on cleaning the data. And where do you clean the data? With the help of cloud, with the help of cloud services. And we should also be aware about where is it stored. Stored is nothing but your SQL database. So primary aim is to learn cloud, primary aim is to learn BI tool, and primary aim is to learn SQL as well. If you know all three technical skills, you would be a market leader from a business intelligence perspective. If you know only one skill out of them, especially Power BI, then it is very difficult to adapt this current market. Why? Because everyone wants to have an understanding of cloud. Everyone wants to have an understanding of where the data is stored, how the data is extracted, which is your SQL. Now, the next image. This is just a comparison. I'm not trying to give you any perspective out of it, but just a comparison. Mere comparison is like every year you will get a quadrant generated by Gartner. Now, you might have heard about a name company called as Gartner. It is one of the world leader which compares different tools available in the market. So it is trying to compare reporting tools or BI tools, especially BI tools or reporting tools. So if you see, Microsoft is nothing but your Power BI. Are we learning the right tool? And you might have also experienced, if you just see the current world, every company is focusing to move from any other reporting tool to Power BI. Maybe some other tools are very powerful than Power BI. If you compare Tableau and Power BI, Tableau is also a very good tool. It is way more better than Power BI in some aspects. But why people are learning Power BI? One thing, it has a global presence because it's a product of Microsoft. The second part is it is very easy to adapt. That's what people are pushing out or maybe moving out from any other tool to Power BI, right? That is one thing, fair. But along with that, what Microsoft has done, they have introduced a concept called as Fabric. And they're trying to give this Fabric license free for a few days, right? Now, what is this Fabric? See, any tool, if you are using Tableau, if you're using Click, if you're using Google Looker, if you're using any other tool, MicroStrategy, that tool doesn't have their own cloud. If you want to work on any data streaming, if you want to work on any data cleaning activities, you have to use some external cloud providers. But Power BI comes with a suite called as Fabric, or you can use their Microsoft Cloud, which will help you to streamline the data. That is the reason people are moving to Power BI. It is not that it is a free tool. It is not that it is very easy to work. Yes, these are two important aspects, but along with that, Fabric is also one of the important or key factor, which is everyone which everyone thinks about, and that is why everyone are moving to Power BI because it comes with inbuilt Power BI service comes with inbuilt option called as Fabric rate. Like 60 days of trial is good to start with. You will understand the data. You need not have any other tool you need to maintain, right? Fabric comes with Power BI service. You can easily use them and you can easily connect it to Power BI. Now, in our sessions, we would be parallelly learning Fabric along with Azure. And why Azure? Like Fabric is based out of Azure only. Whatever services were available in Azure, all that services are available in Fabric, almost. But Fabric is a very limited tool. Like it is only for an engineering perspective, like data analysts and data engineers. But Azure is a total full big cloud. So I've just taken a market trend. Now this is an older picture, but if you compare these also, there is only one cloud provider which is in an increasing trend. Whereas like the current market share, there is a drastic like now in 22, it was around 24 percentage of market share. It is somewhere around 30 percentage now. And neck, AWS is also 30 percentage. The current market in 2026, I'm talking about it. So both cloud providers are leaders now. It is not that only AWS is leader. Microsoft Azure is also current leader. Both have almost same market share, around 28 to 30% of Azure and 31% of AWS. Neck and neck, maybe 1-2% upper hand for AWS. Why? Because it's the oldest cloud provider. As compared to Azure, AWS is the oldest cloud provider, oldest as compared to the other cloud providers, right? So people still believe in like the legacy, people still believe in AWS, but nowadays, if everyone is using Microsoft Stack, maybe Power BI, Fabric, everyone has to adapt the change of Azure. So in our sessions, our emphasis would be on Power BI, our emphasis would be on SQL, and our emphasis would be on Azure and Fabric services. Fair? Now, what we would be covering again, let me explain that all in detail. This sessions would be starting from today, but it's almost a demo session. From tomorrow onwards, we would be starting directly into the technical aspects. Our first thing or the first component which we would be learning is SQL. Now, this course is designed in such a way that we will have the minimal coding. Minimal. One fear everyone has, would I be able to adapt that coding behavior? See, if you want to learn any particular tool, you can make that tool 70% drag and drop non-coding or minimal coding. But that 30% has to be some part of logics, has to be some part of formulas. So that logics and formulas has to be written with a minimal coding. So our course is designed in such a way that 70% of the time it is purely non-coding. It's just drag and drop use of tools. But 30% of the time, if you want to write formulas, if you want to understand the data, if you want to write the better logics, you have to use a small portion of coding, which is almost equivalent to understanding a formula only. So SQL we would be starting with, then it would be Power BI. Then we would be moving to the cloud and Fabric. Now this, whatever services I have mentioned, all these services are available directly in Fabric. Fair? So we would be understanding ETL. Now this is cloud. What I've highlighted, this is cloud. This is cloud. It starts with Azure Data Factory, which is also a data factory in Fabric. We would use other services like storage account, which is your Azure Data Lakes. In Fabric also we have Lakehouse. Similar services are available. So all the services what we would be learning in Fabric and Azure are all interrelated to each other. The only thing is Fabric is a separate suite. Azure is a total cloud infrastructure of Microsoft. Fair? Now, how does this course, like how do you bifurcate this? SQL would be 22 sessions, which would be 1 month. So if we assume a month, it would be minimum 22 sessions, 1 month. Then we would understand complete Power BI, full reporting, which would be 2 months. So if it's a 2 months course, we would have minimum 40 plus sessions. Minimum 40 plus sessions, or maybe minimum 40, sometimes 41 or 42 sessions from a Power BI perspective. And last 1 month would be cloud. So again, if it's a 1 month, it would be again 22 minimum sessions. So around 40 plus 20 plus 20, 80 sessions we would be covering, and this would be a long 4 months duration. This would be a long 4 months duration. So 1 month usually we assume 20 to 22 sessions. So you can bifurcate, you can break it down. 80 sessions would be around 4 months. So within all these 4 months, we would be starting with SQL, then we'll switch to Power BI after a month, and maybe in the last month, we would be covering Azure and Fabric services. Fair? And I have also included basics of engineerings as well. It is not that, okay, we would be only focusing on one service of any cloud. We would also focus on certain services where I will be giving you an explanation related to some automation, some combination of services which are used by data engineers as well. So does it mean that we need to write a piece of code? No, it is not required. Fair. So our sessions are for 4 months. What we would be learning all these components one after the other. And let me highlight one thing. Along with our day-to-day sessions, whatever day-to-day sessions we have, along with our day-to-day sessions, if you are part of KSR, maybe many of you already know it. I'll also make it very clear. Along with technical sessions, we would always cover non-technical aspects as well. Now, what is non-technical? We have some domain knowledge sessions. We have some project management sessions, like what is Agile? What is Agile? Agile, like there are different ways of working in any project. Every world, like every time, if you change something, the world has to adapt, like even if the world is changing, right? So currently almost every part of world is using or working on Agile methodology. What is Agile? Agile is just a way of working. How do you adapt that Agile? What is Agile? What terms, like what all skills are required? Even that we would be discussing in the non-technical sessions. Usually these non-technical sessions are for everyone. Like he might be part of data engineering, might be part of data analyst, data scientist, or any parallel course which is going on in KSR. For everyone, we would be covering this non-technical exposure. And along with that, we also support you in resume building. We also support you in interview preparation as well. Right? We also support you in interview preparation and resume building as well. So this course is not only technical, we would be giving you the additional importance on how the business is, how the market is, what domain knowledge you have to adapt, how the work culture is, how the projects are adapting this Agile, and some resume building and interview preparation sessions as well. Fair? So it is a part of complete suite. It is for 4 months. We would be starting with, maybe our technical sessions would be starting directly from tomorrow. We would be starting with SQL, and maybe we'll slowly switching to the other technical skills as and when we proceed further. Now, few individuals might have a question on what is Microsoft Azure, or maybe what is Microsoft Fabric rather. Azure is a cloud, and Fabric is also part of cloud only. It is one of the service in cloud. So see, Fabric comes with all these services. Fabric has data factory. Fabric has warehouse. Fabric also can be used by data scientists and data engineers. It has some components. The names are different, but all these components are available in Azure also. And Fabric itself is a product of Azure. Like if you want to activate Fabric, you need to have a Azure license first. From Azure only, you will be activating Fabric. But for our team, we would be giving you 60 days of license for Microsoft Power BI, which is your Power BI service, as well as we would be giving a Fabric license.
मतलब যদি ক্লাস মিস
Fair. So 60 days of license would be given. A paid license. You will have a paid license of Power BI. You will have a paid license of Fabric, which you can utilize it for your day-to-day practice. And parallelly, we will also be learning some Azure services as well. Now, Fabric is nothing but a combination of multiple Fabric. Power BI service is also part of Fabric now, or rather, you can say Fabric is part of Power BI service nowadays. Now, few questions. I always get a common question. Who can take up this course? Now, just a moment. I'll switch back. See, I'll just keep this window open and just a moment. A small example to give you a better clarity. So let me share this part as well. And so if you see now, having been said, who can take up this course? This window is anyways open. It is not only that a person who's part of engineering, who's part of maybe BSc computer science, something related to computers only can take up this course. No, this is not developed in such a way. Any engineering or any graduate, irrespective if you are an engineering graduate or irrespective if you're a non-engineering graduate can take up. The only thing is you have to put some effort. I'll take one example, like a very common question which I got, or maybe. See, just read this, just to give you an idea. I mean, we have many such people who got a job. Like she's from US. She's a lady. She's from US. She's a married person. Like, she had a gap of 10 years. Irrespective whatever teaching what we do, that is all there. Like this effort would be same for all the people. Now she had a gap of 10 years. 10 years. And after that gap of 10 years, she secured a job into Accenture. So a gap of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, fine, absolutely fine. Only thing you have to put efforts. Have she got a job when she was completing the course? No, it took 6 months for her. But that 6 months, she was continuously applying. She was continuously giving interviews. She had to, she had many rejections at the start. But with every rejection, wherever she felt where she can improve, she had improved. Like she has gone through that improvement. So one additional help, what we have given, we have we given any special treatment? No. She was part of same 2025 batch. In 2025, she completed a course, and end of 2025, she got into a good position. The only thing is efforts. You have to put some additional efforts. Now, how do you put that effort? Also, we'll try to give you some solution. We'll try to give you, okay, we'll push you to adapt that. But we cannot personally come back and sit next to you and say that you have to work. That also we will do that. But at some point of time, your efforts, how personally you are taking your effort, that is more important. Right. So if anyone has a question that I have a gap of 1 year, 2 year, same thing. This like that implication is for you. Any gap, anything which you have, like which is blocking you, it is not that okay, you will not be getting shortlisted. Companies, if you know, if you're technically strong, every company is considering, including TCS, including Infosys. So it's not a question mark on a gap. It's not a question mark on non-technical exposure. We would always suggest you to use your any previous experience to mention as Power BI experience, unless if you are working without any PF or a fake experience, which is not a valid experience. If you are a working professional, if you have a valid PF, if you complete this course, by end of this course, we can always say that you can put minimum or you can mention minimum 3 to 4 years of experience in Power BI. Fair. So that would make you getting a job easier as compared to if you're very new to this Power BI. Yes, if you're a work, like if you're a fresher now or maybe a college pass out, for them there is no option. You have to start your search as a fresher or maybe a fresh opening graduate only. But if you have any previous experience, by end of this course, we always suggest, yes, we can make your previous experience as a valid Power BI experience. You would be in that position to complete the interviews to compete with others as well. Fair. So I'll take a pause. Maybe I'm open for questions.
Hi Ritesh, Shivam this side. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
I just want to ask you, like, as a data analyst, the Python is also important. So, are we going to cover the Python as well for data
Perfect.
cleaning purpose? So,
See,
how are we
one
going
thing.
to do this?
Fair. At the start, somewhere I have mentioned Python. If you only work on Python, you can call yourself as a data analyst. But if you want to learn something which is a combination of multiple components, like which is your BI engineer. So what we have done, this course is developed in such a way that you have a minimal coding exposure. So Python requires a good amount of coding. Yes, if you want Python sessions, you would be given Python pre-recorded sessions which are used by data engineers. Python is not a part of this course. It is we kept it quietly separate. Why? Because this Python is not compulsory for day-to-day life. It is not compulsory. Like if you have cloud exposure, if you have SQL exposure, Python is not compulsory. If you have, well and good. If you don't have, still fine. You would be considered for the open position. It is not compulsory. And for a Python, you have to understand SQL first. You cannot directly jump to Python. Why? I mean, we would not be learning core Python. We would be learning Python, which is required for a data perspective.
Yeah, like,
For a
I mean,
data
just
perspective,
data cleaning
yes,
purpose, like
right.
pandas and the
So,
NumPy libraries
right.
only.
So Python has many libraries. Pandas and NumPy are the
Mhm.
common things which data analyst uses. If you want that sessions that are quite separate, used by data engineers, like sessions are pre-recorded for data engineering, you can access them, but it is not a part of this course. The sessions are kept separately. And again, I'm saying Python is not compulsory. We made sure that if you have a good SQL exposure, which is sufficient for a BI role. Any other questions?
Hi, sir.
So hi,
Is Excel necessary to finish this Power BI or to get a job?
Okay, so see, we would be using some Excel sources. We would be using here and there wherever there is a requirement of an Excel. So again, whatever Power BI is developed, if you consider PBI, PBI is developed on top of Excel engine only. Power BI runs on the same Excel engine. Excel uses Multipack engine. So what we would be learning in Power BI, almost all the formulas are available in Excel. So we are like, if you want an Excel also, I can give some brief insights about Excel in between sessions, but it is like we are not focusing on Excel. We are focusing more on Power BI, right? So it's not that, okay, you should know Excel. You should know how Excel is used by Power BI engineers to clean the data or maybe to have some business important decisions. We would be discussing basics of it. It's not that, okay, we need end-to-end Excel. Fair. That is sufficient for a Power BI developer.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? I guess.
Yes, yes, I have question. So one thing I just want to understand here, you mentioned to deep knowledge of SQL here. So
Mhm.
in Power BI, sorry, in Fabric,
Mhm.
you will be teach as a complete data transformation or data cleaning steps in Fabric, or it is only like a separate SQL class will be held it and next like a Fabric will be held it separately.
Oh, see,
I mean, that
we would
warehouse part,
start
I
with
guess,
SQL.
like,
We would start with SQL first
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
SQL, whatever is required from a data analyst related aspects, almost 70% of SQL we would be covering. Once we complete SQL, we would switch to Power BI. And then at the last, we would switch to cloud, which is part of, like, which is also inclusive of Fabric. So Fabric is separate. Sessions of Fabric would be separate and sessions of SQL would be separate. These two are
But
not related,
no, but overall conclusion is that if I'm using Fabric for the data
Mhm.
transformation as well as the data visualization,
right?
right? So
Mhm.
if I connect data from the SQL,
Mhm.
do we like normally also learn the steps how I clean the
Yes,
data by using
yes, yes,
SQL in Fabric?
yes. We
Because
would be
normally this step required in the interview as well as in the day-to-day work.
right. We would be going through that. Let me show you a small example of the previous batch itself. See, this is how you will be getting a premium license. Now, you will get a Fabric trial as well as the Power BI premium license. And let me show you. See, we create activities. These are all data factory activities.
Mm-hmm.
This is your Fabric only. How a Fabric looks like, I'll just go back. This is your Fabric. And whatever we try to create, these are all the workspaces which have the Fabric direct support. So in all these workspaces, there are some reports also which are of Power BI, and there are some Fabric related components as well. You have a warehouse, you have a SQL database, you have a lakehouse. So we would be going through. It is not that, okay, if you know SQL, how would you use that? We would use with the help of some factor like ETL activities or maybe some storage services. We would be
So
going through that.
how do we process here ETL activity in SQL warehouse? Can you just open SQL warehouse here?
Yeah.
Do we have any ETL
No,
ETL
we do not have
process?
direct ETL available. We can connect the data which is available in SQL warehouse using a data factory pipeline. If I again just go back, we have a data factory pipelines. These
Mm-hmm.
are our data factory pipelines. So we have to use these data factory pipelines to connect our SQL databases or maybe SQL warehouses.
Got it.
So we have to use them. Like we might have connected to some storage account, we might have connected to some SQL databases. So we would be using activities inside a pipeline that we would be working on basis of which the data streaming, data copy from one place to another place that would happen parallelly.
Okay, so ETL process will not be done in SQL here, right?
SQL is not
Complete
ETL.
S.
SQL is just a storage component where the data will be stored, but it's all cleaned data. SQL will not store uncleaned data or maybe raw data. Raw data is stored in the lakehouse. You have a concept called as lakehouse also. There, the raw data is stored. This lakehouse. So Lakehouse will store raw data, images, anything which you feel which is not stored in SQL is stored in Lakehouse. From there, the data is cleaned and dumped into SQL databases, which is further connected to the Power BI. That is the original stream.
So one thing I just want to ask here, actually, a month ago I had a discussion with the one of the stakeholder who is just dealing the same, and
Mhm.
he connected data from the different sources, and he done every transformation like a process ETL
Mhm.
in depth in SQL only, and he created three folders just like a one for the um, silver, and one for the bronze, and one for the final gold data. So
Okay.
that step I just want to understand, okay, do we follow this or we only learn
Maybe one
SQL
thing
separately?
you have to understand what is silver, bronze, and gold. That is a medallion architecture, right? I'll explain it in a simple manner. SQL is what the data which is in a cleaned format or a structured format. Technically, it is called as structured. So when you will get a structured data, you will get a structured data if you do some transformations in between.
It's already done.
But yeah. So if your stakeholder is explaining you about SQL itself is a structured information. Prior to that, there will be some unstructured data, like you will have raw files. That raw files are stored in data lakes or lake houses. Nowadays, combination of data lake and warehouse is called as a lake house. Lake house is what? Where you can store your unstructured raw files, everything. From here, the data streaming happens. Lakehouse is your silver layer. From there, if you clean your data and then you dump it to SQL, that is your gold layer, you can say that. And prior to silver layer, there is a bronze layer. Bronze layer is where your business data is coming from. Your businesses are not using database directly. They might be using some business tools like SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, or maybe their internal in-house tools. That data, if you take it, if you stream that, if you copy it, that data is purely raw, because a data coming from SAP is purely unstructured. You have to create tables for it. That data is your bronze layer. Now, if SQL is there, SQL itself is a gold layer data because it is purely structured. Yes, in SQL only you can have three different versions. One is your high volume data where the volume of data is very high. In the SQL itself, you create a view or a stored procedure to extract only important information. That you can call it as a semi important data, which is used for reporting. And from there, even if you feel you only want to take only few tables, you can again write one more view or a stored procedure here. Your stakeholder might have done three different layers in the SQL only, but SQL itself is a gold.
Right, right.
SQL
Yes,
itself is a
your
gold
pattern.
layer. So SQL doesn't mean it is a silver layer or a bronze layer. SQL only has a structured data. Bronze layer is the data where you have coming, like you have a data coming from different business systems. From that business systems, you streamline it, you dump it into some data lakes, you dump it into some warehouses. From there, you take it to the SQL. SQL is your final source where you can directly have the structured and clean data and then connect it to Power BI. Yes, in SQL, you
Got
can
it.
maintain three separate environments also. How? One database will have full high volume data, second will have low volume, and third will have data which is used for your business intelligence. You can have
So
that bifurcation in SQL.
So one thing I want to understand here, it means he has done every ETL, he has processed ETL as a like data flow Gen 2 kind of, and he is stored in the
In
differently
SQL,
differently
see, from
sources.
SQL to SQL, if you want, you can use pipelines, but you cannot do directly in SQL. SQL doesn't have any pipelines. SQL components doesn't have any pipelines. You have to use some external ETL tools like Data Factory, Alteryx, and maybe any other tool, Informatica. Our emphasis would be more on Azure Data Factory. So ETL is separate, SQL is separate. SQL is nothing but a storage service.
No,
You
no,
store the data.
In Fabric I'm talking about. Might be he
Yeah,
used the
in
data flow
Fabric
Gen
also.
2.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. In Fabric also, SQL is a storage service. It doesn't has any ETL in it.
Yes.
You have to use some other service for the ETL. Data flow, yes, data flow is part of ETL only. I'll just go back. We have some data flows as well. Let me show you that as well.
Because I'm not from the data science background, so there is a lot of question
No, there is
arising.
no data science involved here. Data flows are not part of data science. Data science are ML models. Let's not confuse everything, right? That's what I'm trying to say. If you are getting confused, there is no data science involved here. It is purely data, a bit of data engineering, and mostly about BI, business intelligence. So the one which you see, Dataflow Gen 2, this is your ETL service, one of the ETL service, Dataflow Gen 2. Do I have? Yeah, you have a Dataflow Gen 1 also. These are Gen 1s. Gen 1s are like outdated, Gen 2s are latest one. So these are all ETL services. You have a pipeline, pipeline is also ETL service.
Okay, so sir, one thing I just want to ask: do you normally also provide a ETL steps here in the Fabric, or as well as Fabric in or in Azure only? You mentioned now we will provide SQL along
Let
with
me
the
give you one
ETL
answer. Very
process.
simple answer.
Mhm.
What is Fabric? Fabric is a combination of multiple services. Like it is a combination of, I'll let me show you that services as well. See, Fabric is a combination of all these services, right? It is combination of all these. But if I just go back, how do you use Fabric? How do you activate Fabric? You have to activate Fabric from the Microsoft Azure portal only. You have to create a service here. Would we be creating all this? No, we will always create it for you. Fabric service is already created for you and given to you. So Fabric itself is a standalone service available from a Azure cloud only. It doesn't mean that if you do not have Azure, you cannot create Fabric. Yes, Fabric you have to create from a Azure cloud. So whatever services a Fabric has, like Fabric has a data pipeline. Similar pipelines are available in the data factory. If I open a data factory, if I launch this, similar services are available in the Azure cloud. So we would be parallelly learning Azure and Fabric together. If I show you Fabric directly, and if I start explaining, you have to create a pipeline in Fabric. Like if 40 people are learning this Fabric, out of 40, 25, 30 people will drop off after 2, 3 sessions. Why? The user interface of Fabric is not that very intuitive, or it is not easy to understand. But if you work parallelly with Azure and then you adapt Fabric, yes, you can easily learn them. What I do here, like I can create a pipeline here also. This is your pipeline. And this is, see, it is well mannered. Everything is structured here. And if I create a pipeline here, now you identify what is the difference. It's almost same. It's almost same. There is nothing difference. But if you check the user difference, like what is the difference? Here, there is no white space. You have to check your manual activities are logics. You have to check your activities like this. But here, if I just expand all the activities will come next to the open tab. You can drag that and you can easily use it. You can drag whichever activity, whichever logic you want, you can drag this. So if you start learning Fabric from day one, it would something give you a messy situation, or maybe you'll not be able to understand easily. So what I always do is I always explain them from an Azure perspective, and then I'll switch to the Fabric slowly. And again, I've said Fabric is a part of Azure cloud. If you want to activate and continue Fabric, you have to have a Azure cloud subscription first, basis of which a Fabric is created. So Fabric itself is a service of Azure. Fair. Any other questions?
Hi, sir.
Hi, this is Yamini.
Yes, Yamini. Ramya, can you please wait? Yeah, we'll conclude with Yamini. Yes, Yamini.
Yeah, currently I'm a RPA UiPath developer.
Mhm.
I'm looking for job change. But again,
Okay.
then I'm just confused that because there are the very less opportunities, and nowadays like agentic AI asked, and you should be hands-on on that particular AI and agentic. You should be create that agent. So I just wanted to know that like, can I means learn this, and like this is a like, because this is not a RPA tool again. This is
Mhm.
completely a different, you can say, data analyst and a Power BI. So
Okay.
basic Power BI I have learned, but again I didn't worked on Power BI. I know the Microsoft tool if you're asking, then Power Automate I know.
Mhm.
Means I didn't work, but again I have no knowledge. Power
Mhm.
Automate, Power Apps, so like this. So is it like can I learn this, and like is it a beneficial like, so that like means how you can like
Okay.
suggest
So
for
let,
me?
let, let me elaborate it more. See, I've mentioned Logic Apps here. Logic Apps is nothing but your Power Automate only. We will have some Power Automate workflows created, which you can integrate it to Power BI for automation purpose. That is also part of this sessions. That would be usually at the end of the sessions in Azure, like last 1 month. Now, I'm not sure how good you are in Power BI, but see, this is not only for people who know basics. See, if I go to open market, I'm just taking an example. If I go to open market, or maybe even I interview many people on day-to-day basis. Interview in the sense I interview for Microsoft related projects, right? Now, out of 10 people, if they are getting shortlisted, there are 7 or 6 or maybe 70% of developers who only knows Power BI. And out of that, maybe some of them may know full Power BI and some of them know basics of Power BI. Like there are a few functionalities in Power BI which you have to know from end to end. We would be discussing end to end Power BI with hands-on experience. Like we would be sharing the service also, right? Where do you publish a report? How do you publish? How do you maintain that refresh also? Everything we would be discussing here. And it is not only Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop is simply an easy tool. Anyone can download free option. You can create visual done. That is not Power BI. Power BI is way more than that. Right? It also has Power BI service. It also has Fabric components. We would be discussing that part also. So that is one benefit. You would have end-to-end exposure. Now, you are asking about AI, agentic AI. One thing, with our KSR domain email license, you will get a Fabric premium version. Yeah, in premium also there are two licenses. One is a basic premium and one is a advanced premium. Premium is what? If you go with ChatGPT, if you go with free Copilot, it can take 15 questions or 20 questions per day, not more than that. It will say that exhausted, limit exhausted per day. With our premium, with our KSR login, you will get minimum 100 prompts per day. The Copilot 100 prompts. So you can prompt 100 questions a day. And there are few agents also available. Now, you can utilize the change of agents also here. That AI exposure will also be free, or maybe it is available directly with the sessions only. Right? The second part is clear. Now, the third part. Third part is you are asking like, how would you adapt this? One thing I'll always suggest, see, and I maybe suggest in the sense I also see that change also. Whenever I start with Power BI, we usually get good amount of people joining with Power BI. But when we start with SQL, people think that SQL, okay, SQL is not that important. They'll try to learn SQL after they learn Power BI. But if you start with SQL and if you adapt Power BI, it is easiest thing which you are doing. Why? There are many functionalities of databases which are available in Power BI. So why always I suggest to start with SQL and then jump to Power BI is 40 percentage of SQL functionalities as it is are available in Power BI. May it be DAX, may it be Power Query functionalities. So if you want to learn anything from a Power BI or reporting perspective, start with SQL. Maybe you will not be able to understand few programming concepts, but We will make you to understand, will make you to push. Okay, you do this, you do that. Maybe we'll give you some questions for practice. That would help you to get good understanding of SQL. And what you learn in SQL, right, will stay with you with Power BI as it is. So SQL, Power BI, Azure, along with Fabric is designed for this course. It is not only Power BI, not only desktop. Along with desktop service, along with service, how do you maintain the refresh? How do you use the data streaming and data transformations? That is also part. That's the reason it is not only reporting, it is way more than that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I guess someone had a question.
Yeah, hi sir, good morning.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
Good
Ramya.
morning. Yeah.
I have decided to study Python along with this course, but how will we connect the Python with Power BI or I'm asking. So I have seen some requirements. There is a need of Python in job market.
Job profile. Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
job profile. Yeah.
How the experience or how the open positions are designed for Power BI is, see, for any open position in Power BI,
Okay.
you will have first component, which is at most compulsory, is reporting, which is your Power BI. This is compulsory. Then the second part is you should have an understanding of storage services. Now, storage services can be SQL database, and it could be ADLS or maybe data lakes, Azure data lakes or data lake. Generally, data lake I'll keep. Data lake, warehouse, these are all the services which are also part of storage where you store the data. This is compulsory. This is also compulsory. And there is a small part which is mentioned in the below. Good to have. In good to have, you will always see cloud. But nowadays, this cloud is moving to compulsory part. Nowadays, cloud, ETL. Now, ETL is again part of cloud only, and Python. Good to have doesn't mean you should have every skill. We are learning this. And why we haven't included? See, we have pre-recorded sessions for Python, but that is from a data engineering perspective. If you want to do all the engineering functionalities, you have to learn Python for sure. For a data analyst, it is just a good to have, and that too, it is used for some data manipulation only. It is not used for data streaming and all that. It is used for some data, basic data manipulation and basic data changes. Now, you were asking about a question related to Python. How do I connect a Python to Power BI? See, there is no direct connector available to connect or write a Python code. If I mention Python, there is no direct component. You have an option called as Python script. But these Python scripts are including data frames. What is data frame? Data frame is all Spark related. It's a storage service only again. Like it is like a table. It is like a table. Yeah, it's like a table. Fair. So you have an option, but this is only for running some data frames. There is an option called as Python visual. You can create your own Python visual also, but you need to have a Python installed in your system. You need to connect it to Power BI. This is quite different. This is your Python data rendering. It is called as rendering. You want to render some information. So there are two ways. One, if you are using Python as a source, but where that Python will store the information? Does Python store information? No. Database will only store. You have to write a script to get the data from database or a data lake and then push it to the Power BI. So Python is a language to communicate. It is not that you should know Python for further maybe Python will store the data. No, it will not store. It will enhance the data. It will transform the data. That's it. So it is good to have. It is not compulsory for any data analyst or BI engineer. Good to have. Yeah, good to have also has cloud and ETL. Our focus would be more here, less here.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Will you be covering Fabric admins?
Admin, you will get full license.
No,
In case
I
of full
mean,
license, I got that. I
yeah.
got that. See, there are two. You might have seen Power BI admin related roles also. There is no Power BI admin, to be frank. Power BI is like Power BI service is so easy that you need not have a separate person who is managing this Power BI service also. You as a developer can manage it freely. But what is it? Admin means a person who manages how to give access to different workspaces, different reports, how to create new workspace, how to manage users. You will get full license. You can manage all the admin activities of Fabric also, or Workspace also, or even Power BI service also. It is like it is all inclusive.
No, but then will this course be covering all the components of Fabric admins?
There is no Fabric admin related functionality. That's what I'm trying to say. Admin is a person who manage. See what happens if you work in any project. If you want to publish a report, you may not have access of creating a workspace. You have to go to an admin. Similarly, if you want to create any pipeline in Fabric workspace, admin is a person who is managing. You will be given full license, right? You can have all the admin functionalities, you can manage them yourself. So what all admin has to do, so admin has to manage access. Here we are only managing access, right? So you can have all the admin functionalities here.
So it means that for the one we create like even data flow and workspace and lake house,
Mhm.
we will be the admin for those
Yeah, you are admin.
component.
You are
Yes.
admin. You are direct admin. Maybe I have some workspaces. Let me show you that workspaces. See, this workspace is created by some other person. I'm not admin of this workspace. I can just go back and check, but I do not have manage access. Why? Why am I not able to see the manage access? But why can I see manage access here is I am the admin for this workspace. I can see, I can manage this. But there are few workspaces which are created by some other students and they have given me read access. So they are admin of their workspaces. Like if you see this workspace is managed by this lady. I'm added as a member. I'm not an admin of this workspace. So there
So
are few
if they create
workspaces.
as a
Huh?
if they assign as a owner, then you will be also
Yeah.
part of admin.
If
And
they assign me as an owner. Mhm.
one question comes in my mind. Another thing, you mentioned Azure, and the second one is a Fabric. So if we
Mhm.
receive any access for the Fabric, like complete license for the Fabric, we will be
Mhm.
also become a like owner and admin of the Azure as well, or do we require a special Azure access from the stakeholder or client?
If you have been given that full authority, you will get full access. If you are only given reader access, you can only use services in it. You cannot change anything in that. There are different roles which are assigned in Fabric, or there are different roles which are assigned in Azure. Different roles. For every service, you can have a different role. Like if I just go back, this is a data factory, right? Now, I am the owner of this data factory. I am an admin of this data factory. But if I want to share this data factory service with some other individual, I can assign that individual whichever role I want. See, there are 100 plus roles. If I want, I can assign him as an admin. What admin you want, you can assign that admin role. But if you want only as a developer, you can assign only developer position. Data lake
let's
analytical developer.
suppose let's
Yeah.
suppose I have a fresh project, and one of my stakeholder requested me to and provide a Microsoft Fabric license. and something
You
comes in
will
my
not
mind
create
for
it.
the creating pipeline.
You will not create it. Client will create it.
Yeah, client will create it, but if let's suppose I have to work or create a pipeline in Azure, so is
Huh.
it possible by Microsoft Fabric only, or do I also need to connect with him for Azure service, sorry,
If
Azure
a company
license
is
or
using Azure, if a company is using Azure, you will have to request them Azure access. If a company is using Fabric, you have to request Fabric access. Either of
okay,
them you can access.
got it.
Not two. There is
Okay,
a
sir.
question. Yes.
Sorry, sir. I think, sorry, but I was like, I wanted to understand, is this course suitable for you? Although all the questions are more related to the things which we will be going to learn within the course, and
Mhm.
this is not the day one where we can learn everything. So,
Mhm.
but yes, my question is more specific on how this will help me. So, I want to frame my question in that way, like, if I have a 7 years of experience with the
Mhm.
all the domains or the stacks which is mentioned in the course, like, although
Mhm.
this question may not have a specific answer because multiple factor will affect to this answer, but still, uh,
Mhm.
how much salary we can expect as a 7 years of experience with this particular stack in our resume? You can mention a range, or as I mentioned, there can be a multiple factor which may affect, like current CTC, what's the trend, and you are
Forget
working
about
for
current
product.
CTC. See, one
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Current CTC is just a factor to like negotiate with you.
Right,
How
right,
you can
definitely.
expect it. There are two things. If whatever experience, if you have some Power BI experience and you want to adapt all Fabric and SQL, then you can show assume that you have a 7 years of experience. I assume it's a
Right.
technical experience or it's a non-tech experience.
Yes. Technical experience. Yeah.
So by end of this course, we can always say, or maybe I always suggest you to keep 4 years of experience into PBI and three
Sir,
years whatever.
just to give you a background, I have actually 5 plus years of experience in Power BI. Then I moved myself in business analytics role, where since 1.5 year haven't gone through Power BI. So this
Hmm.
will be a brush up sessions for me. But yes, I want to highlight this, that when I was using the Power BI services, it was Power BI services, not a Fabric. So that difference I definitely need to adopt. So that's why I specifically want to say that I have 7 years of experience because
So
I can manage it somehow.
see, you can show all your experience as Power BI only because
Okay.
anyways it have that adaptation.
Right.
Now, what is the minimum package which you can expect?
Yeah.
Any Power BI role is your experience into 3.5. Minimum, this is
Okay.
experience into 3.5. Let's suppose if it is 7 years of experience into 3.5. Into 3 would be 21 and zero point 0.5 somewhere around 23 or 24.
Yeah.
So you can expect around 24 LPA.
Okay, sir. Okay. Got it, sir. And like,
Person has
just
4 years, same
Mhm.
3.54
Mhm.
into 3.5. You have to divide. Now, this is a minimum suitable like criteria. One thing, let me close it and maybe you can
Yes,
ask
please.
further
Please,
questions.
please. Yeah, sure.
And you always like we always right there we always consider our previous packages like maybe we were working with a less package, assume that we are working with 10 LPA and my experience is 5 years of experience, so 5 into 3.5 is what, somewhere around 18, 17.5 to 18. So
Yes.
if our package is 10, they cannot directly give you 18, that is for sure, but it is just a negotiation criteria. You always say that 10 is not as per market standard. That is the reason I am looking for a switch, right? And my market standard is it is my experience into 3.5. I have experience in so and so skills, which I am expecting that I should have around 17 to 18. Yeah, plus and minus one you can do. Like if it goes beyond 20, you can do plus and minus two, but not more than that.
Okay, sir. Okay. So I want to add here, sir. Like my, yes, you mentioned absolutely correct. So my current CTC is 24.5 LPA right now.
Hmm.
So is it something like I'm really afraid in this market that
Mhm.
if I want to switch, like companies may afford me, and may I get a good hike on it, or I need to negotiate on that terms where I need to just adjust it around just I think 10% of hike, which is not sufficient to really switch, because in my current organization I am getting 6% average hike. So that's
Mhm.
why what I wanted to understand the limitation of this profession, because as I mentioned, I recently moved myself in the business analyst, but
Mhm.
still like I'm confused, or I'm not sure whether the business analyst may have an higher limits, or the Power BI developer or BI engineer, I can specifically say, because I have SSIS, then hardcore SQL experience. So I went through these tags, so I'm good in it, but not sure on the numbers, like what's happening within the market. So that's why I wanted to understand and get the guidance from you.
One thing, if you are already on this 24, that means you are currently on as per market standards, which is a good option.
Right.
Now, if you want to explore more, maybe from a business analyst point of view, yeah, it is like business analysis. You have to work on that specific element of it. From a switch perspective, there are
Mhm.
two things. Are you working in a service based or are you working in a product
Uh,
based?
in a product base, sir.
So in a product base, there is always a advantage of getting more package than what is mentioned here.
Right.
Because service based has that restriction of 3.5 to 4, maximum 4, like 7 into 4, 28. You can get up to 28 in case of service based. But if you're in a product base, like you have some niche business analysis skills, or maybe I would suggest you, maybe for you, Power BI is like, okay, if you want to switch, that's fine. But if you want to
No, no,
explore,
sir. Sir, I want to understand your expert advice, because definitely you are in this industry, and in learning profession, you are well versed with what happening in other markets and what's happening with this particular Power BI stack. So that's
hmm,
why I want to get out of your diverse experience that what is the best.
hmm, fair. So what I always say, right? Like from an only CTC perspective, if you're thinking, then maybe I would suggest you to learn some engineering. My exposure, or maybe my
Okay.
understanding is engineering means you should have about good experience in Databricks or Synapse, more into data engineering, because you
Okay.
already are well versed and you have that correct range of salary also. Data engineering will give you into 5 times, 1x more.
Okay.
7 fives are 35. You can expect until 35 if you're into data engineering. Yeah, if you're into BI engineering, into 3.5 to 4 times, maximum 4. Data engineering is 4.5 to 5 times. So,
Okay, sir.
from a package perspective, yes. If you want to, maybe you have to have an exposure to the engineering stack, which would give you better. Now, if you are always like you are all in a product base, from a product based perspective, yeah, it is good that you will, even I'm not sure how product bases are giving 6%. Usually they'll give 15, 12, maybe double digit mostly. But yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
market
sure.
is like stringent in
That this
that
is a
case.
minimum, yeah, sir. Yeah, you're
In,
absolutely correct. Yeah.
okay. So in that case, I would suggest you to have some niche skill in business analyst, maybe some agentic AI, or maybe some prompt engineering, or go with the data engineering functionality if you want to have a good hike.
Okay, and in sir, in our case, sir, do we have any sessions related to business analyst or something
Mm,
like that, where we will have that stakeholders management sessions and all? Do we have anything like that here?
functional sessions are not done. Like we do not have any functional trainings as of now. Business analysis is more related to functional, right? Understanding the
Right,
functionalities of
right,
it.
right.
So functionally, we do not have. Maybe if there is a plan in future, might be available. For now, there are no functional sessions.
Okay,
It's
sir.
all
Okay.
technical. Either data engineering, either data scientist with agentic AI, or either like BI engineering or Power BI, or either maybe pure Python engineering. That is quite different.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much for your detailed answer, sir. This gives me an idea that what can be my future and what should be I plan. So thanks a lot for your expert advice.
Fair. Any other questions?
Hi Ritesh, I have a question.
Hmm.
So I'm completely from commerce background and I hold 4 years of experience in a renowned bank.
Hmm.
So now I'm in a thought of, switching my career. I wouldn't say I completely want to switch to a IT background, but then even in the current market, there's a lot of automation happening in the banking sector as well. So I just want to know how I can use my skills there. And one more thing is with regards to the course and course pattern. So
Hmm.
I see a lot of people who already hold, I mean, at least a few of them who spoke up, they already hold some background in Power BI and maybe also in Azure and Fabric.
Hmm.
But then for me, who is completely new to this and as a beginner from a non-technical background, I want
Hmm.
to know if the entire course will be done from the beginner
Yes.
standpoint, or is it something like I'll be very honest with you. In the initial session that we were having, it was pretty clear and it was
Hmm.
little interactive.
Hmm.
But then once there were high-end questions coming in where people were bringing in different terminologies, and to be honest, and I'm not sure of most of them. So that was giving me more, that was making me more confused actually. So I just wanted to know if this is how the entire course is gonna be, or we will stick to the basics and then start off as a beginner only.
Okay, fair. So I might have mentioned this also, and again mention it. This is not designed for people who are from engineering background only. One thing, maybe if I explain something related to SQL, something related to Power BI to an engineering graduate and to a commerce graduate, there will be quite a good amount of difference. What difference they might feel? A commerce graduate might understand after 1 day, 2 days, or maybe after a week. Maybe it would take some more time to adapt. For an engineering graduate, it might be easily understandable in a day or maximum 2 to 3 days. That would be there. But we are not teaching from a very basic, like it's not that we are teaching from an engineering perspective only. I would start with what is SQL, what is database, what has to be done inside a database. That from that level of like basics we would be starting. Same is the case with Power BI. It is not that we are directly jumping. See, there are many people in this market who know basic Power BI. That basic Power BI is not sufficient. You can also learn basic Power BI using YouTube. Yes, it's very easy. But the only thing is you should know in depth. That is what we would be covering. So we will start with basics only. Post that, we will jump to the in-depth, right? You cannot directly jump to the final conclusion. Between, you have to learn all the basics. So irrespective if you are a commerce graduate, if you are an any teaching graduate, you have a career gap, and the technical people, anyone can come and anyone can understand this. Anyways, you still have 4 more sessions, right? You have your own time to decide whether I'm able to adapt or not. Right? From tomorrow onwards, we would be slowly starting with SQL. So you still have 4 more sessions to decide. Let's not confuse on the day one itself, right? There might be confusion, but you still go through first, like next 4 sessions. And then you think, okay, am I able to adapt that? Am I able to understand? And then think about whether can you join or not. We are not saying that you should be able to join or you should join. You have 4 more sessions to decide. Think, go through that sessions, and then maybe if you are able to understand, fairly enough, like you can continue with that.
Correct, agree with you, but it's not about me thinking of joining it or not. I'm actually interested in joining this. I've already decided on it, but then I would appreciate if the high level knowledge that people already have, if that is coming in between a topic that you like, you have a pattern, you go by, step by step, and just as of a sudden, if something else, some high level knowledge comes in, that is sort of confusing to new beginners is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying I will change my point of view or something. It's just I want to let you know that okay, it kind of affects.
Be starting with this. Why do we need a database?
Hmm.
What type of databases are there? Like including what is like basics we would be covering. We are not directly jumping to any conclusion or we are not directly starting with scripting. SQL is all about writing formulas, logics. We are not writing. We would be starting with very basics. Each and every point I would be covering. So yes, in between we would be discussing what is it used for. See, I'll not consider everyone as an engineering background. I'll consider everyone as a normal person who doesn't know ABC of database, who doesn't know ABC of Power BI. From that perspective, we will try to teach.
Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions?
What is the fees for this course?
I'll also highlight that. Maybe today is the day one. That's the reason I'm not highlighting it. But usually it is like if you go with one-time payment, you will get a discount. Somewhere around it would be 30K. If you're going with like EMIs, 2 EMIs, 3 EMIs, it would be 33K. So 33 and 30. 30 is one-time payment, 33K is 3 EMIs. Or if you want to go with 2, like it would be 32K.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. If you still have any questions, we still have 4 more days. It's anyways 10, around 10. So we will maintain a
Hi,
strict
sir.
time.
I have a question.
Yes, Ganesh.
Yeah, this is regarding actually, I happened to join a previous batch, maybe in last June or August. So I could not continue then, and I again had some other plans in between. So I want to restart this batch, and since I have already paid half of the fees, around 30% of it, I would want to understand from the license perspective whether the previous license will be applicable and how long it will last for.
Yeah, it would be resetted for you, but yeah, you have to get it clarified from the team. But there will be a resetting option. So that part is done. That team would help you. The KSR team would help you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, it's almost nearby 10. If you still have any questions, please note it down. Maybe we still have 4 more sessions for this free sessions to continue. You can ask, we can discuss in that sessions, and then maybe we can further continue. Okay, so we'll have that 8 to 9:30 or maximum 9:45 for first few sessions, and then we'll have a strict time of 8 to 9:30 rather. Okay, so thank you everyone, and like let's connect back tomorrow with the sequel, like the start of the sequel, and then maybe we can continue with the further functionalities. Thank you and have a very good day.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.